So, internet documents require the same information. Basically, author, year. You can't put a page number often. If you can, and you need to, do it. Right, here we go. Lynn, are you ready? Here's the answer to your question in the next one. I think. Quote from Kristeva, found in Sanders' work. So, here's a point. What is it? It is best to approach film adaptations as reinterpretations of their source material, or as here's a quote, a permutation of text and intertextuality. Kristeva, cited in Sanders 2006. Now what this means, I think this is what your issue has been, or your question. You're reading a piece. Could be a website, could be a book, could be anything, doesn't matter.
I think it's journaling.
And you're reading the piece, and it's by this person, Sanders. Now, blah, 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 Sanders writes, and in it, Sanders quotes this very cool quote, or it might be a quote, it could be an idea, it doesn't really matter. And they say, Kristeva. Yeah. Imagine it's a quotation. Alright, and you say, oh, that's really cool, I want that. I want to put that in my essay. My essay over here. Alright? Sure, you can. And you don't have to necessarily go, Kristeva's article that this got taken from might be 40 pages long. You don't necessarily have to go and read all of Kristeva's. Just, you really like that idea. You want to use it. This is how you do it. Alright, Kristeva, cited in, you've got to put this person's name, and here their date is 2006. Alright, so in your essay you say K, cited in, cited means like mentioned. That's what you would do in your essay. Is that the sort of thing you were talking about? Where you're using somebody inside somebody's piece. This is quite common, quite common. Now, okay, what do we do in the reference list? Do we put all the details of Kristeva, or do we put all the details of Sanders? Sanders, yeah. Let's go and have a look over the page. Can you see there, Sanders J, 2006, adaptation and appropriation, Routledge, New York. As it says, book from which Kristeva's quote was taken. And it does say page 2. Page 2. Because it's a quotation. So, if we went and got that book either off the web or went from a bookshelf in the library and we opened it to page 2, we would find Kristeva's quote. And if we really wanted to go and, explore Kristeva's work more, we would go to the reference list of this piece, wouldn't we? If it was a book, it might be right at the back, references, or reference list at the bottom of articles, and we get the details and we could go and read that book or article or whatever it was.
Why they didn't put page 2 here?
Because, yeah, good point. Those, okay, see, in the reference list, sorry, not the reference list, in the in-text you put your page numbers. In your reference list you don't. Alright, so that's important.
So pretty much in reference list, you don't have to put page numbers?
Generally speaking, you don't.
Okay, yeah.
Alright? Let's imagine, let's make the rule is you don't, and then I'm going to tell you the exception.
Okay, yeah.
So in other words, your page numbers go in the in-text.
Yeah.
However, I'll just set it a fire on. Yeah, right, journals. Let me see. Okay, have a look in your reference list. You will see some page numbers. What are they doing? Let's look at the first one, number 3. Sorry, Number 4, leech. Can you see leech?
Yeah.
T, 2008. Adaptation studies at a crossroads. Adaptation. Volume 1, number 1.
Which means
PP. See PP? That means pages. Don't write PGS. You write P. So just generally on page, you don't write PG. That's a pretty common kind of handwritten note for page. You don't, you write P. P6. If you want to say pages 6 to 17, you write PP. It shows what we call the page range. Now what we see here is, with leech, let's go over to here. It's a journal. Now that journal is called Adaptation. That's the name of the journal. And we go into the Barsmith Library Uni and we go volume 1, number 1, we find it on shelf number 278, there it is, take it out. Okay, we want to find that quickly. The page range tells, so that's like one journal, isn't it? And here, pages 63 to 77, we can quickly flip there. And we don't have to worry about looking at it through carefully or whatever. We just go straight to that page. We know where that article begins and ends. So you must put the page range. So that's the only time you put pages, just to show the range, where things begin and end. But you don't put, if you've got page 71, something or other, something or other, page 29, those things do not go into your reference list.
unless they are journals.
If they're the only time you'll see, even with a journal, you only see the page range. If you quoted from page 72, you still don't put it in the reference list. You put it there, say that one. It's page 71. Right? You don't put page 71 in your reference list, you just put the range. So that somebody can go to the library and get it off the shelf and quickly find the beginning. Does that make sense? I know there are lots of rules sort of suddenly hitting you.
So if it's the chart in the page, so should I put the chart number in the reference?
A chart?
Yeah. They have the number. Many kinds of charts.
Ah, yeah.
Each chart has the number.
Like figure 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
No.
You just put your page number and then in your essay, if it's number 2, because it's your second chart, then you put figure 2. But it's your number, it's whatever order.
I mean, this is the number which in the document.
Yeah, in the original document, you don't use that original. If it's figure number 16, you don't put that in your piece. You just put the page number. Yeah.
Even no number, no page number. They don't.
No page number, you can't do it.
I just say page 6.
Yeah, you put Christina cited in, because it might be a website, with no page number. Well, then you can't do it. That's okay. Yeah. All right. How are we going? Need another Panadol? Anyone? Okay, sometimes this happens. Our last point on looking at the essay there. Similar surnames. More. Fairly similar surname in English. All right, maybe you've got 2 Moores in your document, then you must put the initial. Usually you don't. You say Moore 2010, but here Moore MR. Because
Does that mean 2 mores? I mean, more everything and more R. Is that right?
what this means is that in your essay you've got, they haven't actually done it. If you look at the references, there's only 1.
Yeah.
So that's a mistake. There should be 2, shouldn't there, if they're really demonstrating their point correctly.
So am I
All right.
the first
They're just illustrating the point though. I mean, really, they should have another more FK 2008, you know. So imagine there's another one there. And you've obviously got to distinguish between the two. So only in those circumstances you put initials.
So if that means John, we put more, comma, MR, comma,
Yeah.
J. Is that right? If it is more J and more MR, two people.
Ah,
Is
then
that right?
then you're talking about a team of people.
No. I'm just talking about if we have two authors with similar surname.
Yeah.
Imagine J. Smith and K. Smith.
Yeah.
So we put Smith, comma, K,
That's
comma, J. Or do we?
No, because you're only quoting one Smith at a time.
Okay, so we have Smith.
If you were quoting both Smiths for
Yeah.
the same point, like
Yeah.
a Smith K,
Yeah.
comma,
Smith.
no, okay. So if we go back to okay, let's go back to several sources.
Yeah.
Have a look at the punctuation in between. Let's do Smith, K, semicolon,
Okay. And
then Smith,
that's what I
R.
Okay.
All right.
Still we have put Smith
Yeah,
twice.
but yeah, you would. That's right.
Yeah, that's what I
But just the point I didn't mention, between multiple references for the same point, you'll have semicolons. Yeah. And you don't look, if we go back to the several sources, Desmond and Hawkes, Leach, 2008, McFarlane, 1986, Miller and Stam, 2004. Notice there is not an and before your last one. It's just another semicolon. Oh.
Overflow now.
Too much, I know. Terrible.
Two-
Probably doing too much of this at once. Okay, let's stop at this point because there's still plenty more fun. Have you got with you, or somebody at your table might have a book, a website, you've got some note of something you've used in your essay, or some of you might have even tried to put a reference list together. I just want you to find in your group, or Alex, you could use that book, whatever. Just have one source per group. How would you write it up in text and in your reference list? I mean, I've got a kind of questionnaire, puzzle test we could do on this, but it's often better to actually work with stuff that you're really needing for your essay and practice getting it right.
You do it first.
So if you've got a book, or have you got notes for, so Sally, you've got a book there?
Yeah.
Okay, throw that at everybody. How would you write that out in a reference list? Alex, you've got this book. How would you do that one? Let's imagine there's a quote from page 37. Page 37 of each one of those books.
Okay.
How would you write it out in text? How would you write it out in your reference list? Okay, and we'll stop there in terms of instruction. Get a bit of practice.